Hello, writers. If you're on my channel, I assume that you know who I am, Lee Jessup, career coach for emerging and professional screenwriters, as well as adjunct screenwriting professor for the David Lynch grad program for cinematic studies. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your writerly diet. It may sound confusing when I say it for the first time, but when I work one-on-one with my career coaching clients, we talk about all of the things that you have to do in order to become a better writer, right? In order to build your career, become a better writer, prepare yourself for the industry. So that's what we think about when we talk, or I talk about your writerly diet, all of the things that you have to do in order to prepare yourself to be the professional screenwriter that you want to be when opportunity arises. We always hear it, luck favors the prepared. And so we want to prepare. And with that in mind, I look at the time that we're putting into writing on a weekly basis with my writers when we measure progress, not progress. We also look at reading screenplays. We also look at watching content. We can look at listening to content, to podcasts, things like that. And so I challenge anybody who's watching this video, if you are kind of on your own and figuring it out, I do urge you to create a writing routine for yourself first and foremost, right? You want to build up your hours. And remember that it's a very competitive industry, and therefore you're competing with other writers who are putting in those hours. If you are seriously pursuing screenwriting rather than just dabbling in it as a hobby, and we'll see maybe one day something will happen of it, I do urge you to try to make writing your second job, for lack of better words, and I know that's never fun, but if you want to see your craft evolve, you want to write with regularity, you want to develop that muscle, you want to develop those skills. So I challenge you to think about the number of writing hours you want to be putting in per week, right? What are your minimums? What are your maximums? And really break it down. Like, what are the days? When are you finding those openings? I generally find that time to write doesn't just present itself, because there's so much of it going around. But in addition to defining those writing hours, and I always urge my writers to get above 5 hours. If we can get to 10, great. I know not everybody can do that. If you have a family, if you have a job, there are constraints on everybody's schedule, but that's where accountability becomes really important. So whether you work with somebody like me, or whether you have an accountability group or a writers group where you hold each other's hand to the fire, it's really important to define those writing goals in practicality. What are you putting in as far as hours? Now, we know that the other two ways that writers really grow and enhance their craft is by reading scripts and watching content. And because of that, I challenge you to, as part of your writerly diet, also think about how many scripts are you reading per week, per month? Incredibly important to understand what the industry expects from screenplays. And if you don't know where to find those, you can always email me, lee@leejessup.com. I'm more than happy to share some Dropbox folders with you that house the scripts from the blacklist. And by that, I mean the list, not the website. I'm sure there'll be a video at some point to explain the difference between the two, because I explain those all the time. But I can share some current industry scripts with you to make it easier to read content. But it's also watching content. It's also listening to things. It's also listening to industry talks. So I do encourage you to really kind of take a step back and think about, if you want to show up as a professional screenwriter one day, if you want to be the sort of person that producers want to work with, that executives want to bring into a writer's room or for a writing assignment, I really encourage you to think now about your writerly diet. Also fold into that some industry news, start to get to know the industry. And if you're not sure how to do it, come work with me, but you're under no obligation. Just could not do it. But I do work with my writers on this day in and day out. That said, you are perfectly capable of building your writerly diet on your own, or finding an accountability partner and really setting numbers and goals for that, so that you continue to build up and become the writer that you want to be, because that is not going to happen overnight. And as I said earlier, luck does favor the prepared, and nowhere is it more evident than it is in this industry. So keep working hard, keep moving forward, and check out more videos coming at you soon.